Tonight on Newswatch, after a statewide search, 2 Zanesville kids are found in Pennsylvania.
Plus, 3 women tell their stories of advocacy.
And in sports, Ohio football is back in action for spring camp. Newswatch starts right now.
The Amber Alert for 2 Zanesville toddlers is canceled after the 2 are found in Pennsylvania. Good evening, I'm Juliana Colant.
And I'm Morgan Anderson. Zanesville police say Thomas Pritchard abducted 1-year-old Kill Clark and 3-year-old Isaac Shamblin yesterday around 5 p.m. Police say the 46-year-old hopped in a running car with the 2 kids inside and drove off.
Pritchard was found in Washington, Pennsylvania with the children around 8 p.m. last night. He has been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol, endangering children, reckless endangerment, and receiving stolen property. Pritchard is currently being held in a Pennsylvania jail without bail. No trial date has been set in the case.
A former Pike County official illegally pocketed almost $7,000 from her public office.
Ohio Auditor Keith Faber confirms in a special audit the former executive director of the Pike County Convention and Visitors Bureau issued herself extra payroll checks from 2016 to 2019. Sharon Manson, one of the original trustees of the board, was terminated from her role in March of 2019. Manson pleaded guilty to misdemeanor counts of theft in office and soliciting improper compensation. A Pike County Common Pleas Court judge sentenced Manson to 30 hours of community service, issued a $500 fine, and ordered her to reimburse the Bureau with $6,805 she stole.
The Kentucky governor, Andy Beshear, is taking emergency action to halt the scale of a drug known as gas station heroin. Beshear says it poses a threat to a state battling addiction and overdose problems. The regulation signed yesterday applies to products containing tianepatine, which he says is available online and at convenience stores and gas stations despite having no medical use. A new bill aimed at diffusing classroom disruptions becomes law in Kentucky. The new law was signed by Governor Andy Beshear yesterday. Under the bill, a student removed from the same classroom 3 times within 30 days may be suspended from school for being, quote, chronically disruptive. Principals could require a review of classroom issues with the teacher and the student's parents to determine a, quote, course of action for the student. Beshear says the bill will allow school administrators to intervene in situations before they escalate.
Hello, and for that weather out there right now, we're looking at about 43 for Athens. That rain is kind of on the lower side right now. We're going to be a little misty out there, but for right now, about 42 degrees. Getting, like I said, a little misty out there. The winds right now are at about 5 miles per hour. You'll be seeing those raise and lower throughout the night. I'll definitely be keeping up with that. And going into this, those chance of showers that are going to be happening. That high for today was about 51 and that low 44. A lot cooler than we were expecting from yesterday, being about 70, but it's still on the springer side. That 90% chance of showers, that's going to be happening again later tonight. I know we were feeling that this morning, a little bit in the afternoon, and we'll be feeling it later. Going into this little system right here was supposed to be a little bit more northerly, but it's giving us a little bit less rain for our weekend. I'll be getting into that with my full weather. Definitely going to be a little bit on the drier side. You'll see that chance of rain kind of pops up. And we'll be getting into that this weekend. I'll get more into that in my full weather. Now back to Juliana.
Thanks, Isabel. 3 Athens women, a part of the Third Act Ohio Working Group Coordinating Committee, set out to make change every day. Whether that be participating in peaceful rallies or just trying to spread the word to save the environment or fight for equality. Newswatch reporter Jacob Mata has the scoop on their story.
Cantino and Judy Smucker have known each other for almost 13 years, and they've worked together to lobby for change in their community and country ever since. Carrie Gibbons met Heather and Judy around a year ago while attending a peaceful rally.
When we did the coal barren blockade.
Oh, that one. Okay.
That one, yeah. That was April last year.
That was when you first met. But you
All 3 of them got started in activism in different ways. For Cantino, activism was a family affair.
I started as a kid. I grew up in a household where we went to rallies and marches during the Civil Rights Movement, and my mother was an activist against nuclear weapons. And
for Judy Smucker, it was college.
I read Silent Spring when I was in college, and that was my first introduction to say, something's not right here.
And Carrie Gibbons found authors early in her life that would point her in the direction she's gone to this day.
I don't know if I was around 11 or 12 and I started reading Jane Goodall, and I could not get enough of her. I think that was a huge turning point for me. Silent Spring, when it came out, E.F. Schumacher's Small is Beautiful. These things did a lot to frame where I wanted to go.
These days, the women are staying involved through the group Third Act Ohio, which gets people over the age of 60 out and rallying, and Cantino believes there's a history as to why it's the older generation.
the young people have been carrying the burden unfairly of doing more of the climate activism.
All three women plan to continue fighting for change to give children of the next decade a livable future.
We do know that climate change is the number one, to me it's the number one issue. If we don't wake ourselves up to what's happening to our climate, nothing else matters.
Because the changes that have to happen are dramatic, and they need to happen sooner than anybody is willing to do. And it's not going to be not painful.
Well, I will continue working on climate issues. Forest issues are really important to me.
For Newswatch, I'm Jake Amata in Athens.
Coming up after the break, a new bill aims at giving parents more oversight in the classroom. And lawmakers continue the debate over whether or not TikTok should be banned in the U.S. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Was Einstein wrong?
They said the world simply can't operate that way.
Quantum mechanics.
We're left with conclusions about the universe that make no sense.
Key to our most advanced technology, yet shattering the laws of space and time.
Even if they're very far apart, in a way they're always coordinated.
Have scientists finally found the answer?
Everything is possible.
To Einstein's quantum riddle on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
On Secrets of the Dead. Until now, the experiences of early women received little attention.
The female was simply forgotten.
The true story of prehistoric woman is being brought to light.
We operate under the assumption that it's the prime age males that are the be-all and end-all of Ice Age lifeways, and they're not.
Lady Sapiens on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
On American Experience.
We should not risk a nuclear war in Vietnam.
We learned pretty quickly that Nixon's secret plan was to threaten the North Vietnamese with nuclear weapons.
There was a feeling like, what do we do next?
We didn't think revolution was in the air. We didn't think the United States is going to change overnight.
We were part of a long train of people trying to make things right.
The Movement and the Madman on American Experience.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
For those born in the Rocky Mountains, the adventure has just begun. It's time to grow up, test your limits, discover what you were born to do. But a daunting challenge lies ahead. Your first winter. The skills you'll need have been passed down from generation to generation. This is how you thrive when you're born in the Rockies.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
The House voted today to pass a GOP education bill that aims to increase parental rights in the classroom.
The Parents' Bill of Rights Act requires schools to provide parents with a list of books and reading materials available in the school library. Other mandates include that curriculum is publicly posted, administrators alert parents of violent activity on school grounds, and it requires middle and elementary schools that receive federal funding must get permission from parents before changing a minor child's gender markers, pronouns, or preferred name, or allowing a child to change the child's sex-based accommodations. LGBTQ rights advocates argue the act specifically stigmatizes an already vulnerable population. The bill faces an uncertain future in the Democratic-controlled Senate.
President Joe Biden is calling Chinese investors to sell their share of a popular social media app, TikTok, a face of a potential U.S. ban. China, in response, says it will firmly oppose any forced sale of the app. The drama unfolding as the company's CEO testified on Capitol Hill about its ability to keep user data safe. Ivan Rodriguez breaks down the concerns.
Many U.S. lawmakers remain convinced the popular app is an urgent threat to national security.
The FBI director, the CIA director, the NSA director, the DIA director, the director of national intelligence, all voicing significant concerns about this app in bipartisan fashion.
TikTok does appear to collect user data in a similar fashion to American social media companies. While TikTok does not operate in China, its parent company ByteDance is located in Beijing. The concern is the Chinese government could leverage that relationship to force cooperation with security activities, including the possible transfer of TikTok user data. Experts say while there's no public evidence at this moment, it is a possibility.
The problem for the CEO is it's not TikTok that's the target of mistrust, it's China. Nobody trusts China, and nothing he can say will change that.
Western legal experts say Chinese law can require any organization or citizen in China to support, assist, or cooperate with state intelligence work. Concerns about TikTok's connection to China have led to a ban across U.S. government devices. In Thursday's testimony, TikTok CEO Shou Chew tried to ease worries.
I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data. They have never asked us. We have not provided.
Lawmakers weighing what to do next.
It's more about the ownership structure, and that needs to change.
In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
President Biden is in Canada for his first state visit to the nation since entering the White House. The president and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took on topics concerning the headlines in both countries. Among them, the Chinese spy balloon, immigration, and defending democratic values. It all led to a presidential address to Parliament. Mike Valerio is in Canada.
An overdue visit between North American next-door neighbors and gratitude from the get-go.
We're lucky. We have Canada to our north, share these values.
A Chinese spy balloon in the air and migration from the U.S. to Canada on the ground among the top orders of business as President Biden addressed Canada's parliament.
Canada and the United States have had each other's backs in war and in peace.
Today, a new agreement on immigration at America's northern border. Migrants crossing illegally into Canada coming through unofficial crossings on rural roads. Those migrants can now be turned back into the U.S. as they wait for their asylum claims to be processed.
The United States and Canada will work together to discourage unlawful border crossings and fully implement the updated Safe Third Country Agreement.
Then there's defense, the U.S. asking Canada to spend more and speed up the timeline for defense spending, including on NATO. Also, discussions on countering China, a spy balloon crossing through Canadian airspace before flying over the continental U.S., and allegations of Chinese interference in Canadian elections looming large.
There are also areas in which we're going to have to directly challenge China, whether it's on human rights, whether it's on security behaviors, whether it's on cyber attacks or concerns like that.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
I'm Lexi Lepoff, and when we return, we're going to continue to look at mental health in Southeast Ohio.
And for our weather this weekend, how you can expect rain for not only tomorrow, but for the rest of the weekend. And for more from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube.
On American Experience.
We should not risk a nuclear war in Vietnam.
We learned pretty quickly that Nixon's secret plan was to threaten the North Vietnamese with nuclear weapons.
There was a feeling like, what do we do next?
We didn't think revolution was in the air. We didn't think the United States is going to change overnight.
We were part of a long train of people trying to make things right.
The Movement and the Madman on American Experience.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
On Secrets of the Dead. Until now, the experiences of early women received little attention.
The female was simply forgotten.
The true story of prehistoric woman is being brought to light.
We operate under the assumption that it's the prime age males that are the be-all and end-all of Ice Age lifeways, and they're not.
Lady Sapiens on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Was Einstein wrong?
They said the world simply can't operate that way.
Quantum mechanics.
We're left with conclusions about the universe that make no sense.
Key to our most advanced technology, yet shattering the laws of space and time.
Even if they're very far apart, in a way they're always coordinated.
Have scientists finally found the answer?
Everything is possible.
To Einstein's quantum riddle on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
American Masters profiles artists on the rise. Janae Bridges breaks down barriers in opera.
I am channeling every queen with this role.
While Reese Palmer carves out her own space in the country world.
I want to make music that matters.
See how they use their voices to inspire change.
It makes me feel like I'm making a difference.
On American Masters.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
Hello. Now that we're back, I know that if you've been out there today, you've been noticing those drizzles, those little chances of showers here and there. I know this morning it was a little heavier, that 90% chance of showers that has been with us for most of the day. I know it's been popping in and out, but right now we should be feeling those moisture, like a little moisture, a little misty, that temperature high of about 51, that low about 44. Going into tonight, that's when we're going to get that low. That 90% chance of showers is going to be happening a little bit later tonight, and it's not going to be too heavy, so definitely wear that rain jacket, but don't be too alarmed that it's going to be some pretty substantial rain. Going into going into tonight, that flood advisory and that wind advisory. Flooding in Athens is just because of those rivers overflowing from that rain, and those wind advisories, that low pressure is coming in, going to give us some of that windiness. As you can see, this is kind of coming up. It's going to be giving us those wind chances. Going into tomorrow, 50% chance of showers. Those are going to be happening before 2 p.m. tomorrow. So if you have anything going on for your Saturday, your weekend, it's going to be definitely more clearer later into the day. That temperature high of about 67, going to be feeling very spring-like, very nice out there, just a little bit humid from those showers. That temperature low about 34 is going to be happening later in the night. Looking into how this is going to be affecting us, tomorrow that low pressure system is going to be kind of sitting a lot more northerly, so it's going to not affect us as much. You could see kind of southeast Ohio is in like a pocket. West Virginia is going to be getting hit, but northern is going to be also getting hit, but we're going to be staying on the drier side. Going into tomorrow night, also we're kind of in that pocket still, going more northerly, going to keep us a little drier, but definitely still going to have that chance of rain. Going into Sunday, we're looking a lot drier. That only thing that I'm worried about is this over here, that low pressure system that might be going to be affecting our weekend. Those rain chances that are going to be happening are going to be tomorrow, definitely going to be a little bit heavier. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Parkersburg area, and then going to be still marginal chances all over Ohio. Going into your weekend, definitely going to look very spring-like, about 67 tomorrow, in those 60s for the rest of the weekend. Looking into the rest of the week, we're going to stay pretty much in those 50s and 60s with those lows in the 30s. Definitely going to have to check in with us on how those showers are going to be possible later in the week. Now back to Lexi.
Thanks, Isabel. This week, our reporters have taken a deep dive into mental health in Southeast Ohio.
Reporter Lexi Lepoff joins us to talk about how addiction influences mental health awareness.
Addiction is a chronically relapsing brain disease that affects more than 23 million Americans, but only 1 in 10 of those receive the treatment they need. According to the CDC, some believe addiction is a choice or a character flaw. This is a common stigma. Health professionals and experts like City County Health Commissioner James Gaskell say that more education on the issue will combat existing stigmas.
Addiction is a brain disease, and it's really a difficult disease. And as the public becomes more aware of that, I think we'll have less criticism and more acceptance that we need to tackle this problem medically.
Gaskell and the health department offer a harm reduction clinic every Wednesday. There people can get free resources such as Narcan, clean needles, and information on how to get additional treatment.
Thanks, Lexi. Peer recovery organizations are popping up across the state of Ohio to address funding and benefit individuals recovering from mental health or substance abuse disorders. Sometimes you need someone who has gone through what you're going through. And that's what peer recovery organizations provide. Governor Mike DeWine's new budget allocates for creating more of these organizations.
So, in a nutshell, there are peer recovery organizations throughout the state of Ohio who provide recovery support services to individuals in recovery from a mental health disorder or a substance use disorder.
Here in Athens County, the Gathering Place offers help to those in need. It is one of more than 50 organizations in the state. Here, people with a mental illness can become a member of the organization, and for many, it becomes a part of their daily routine where they can interact with others, have home-cooked meals, and participate in activities.
Not every community across the state has that.
A peer support specialist is someone with lived experience and is certified in the state of Ohio. Richard Otto is a peer support specialist at the Gathering Place, and he says the goal is not to act as a medical professional.
You're not a clinical person. You're not one to tell them how to live their life or give advice.
Instead, PRSs look for things to support and give guidance in a judgment-free environment.
If you have a psychiatrist or you have a caseworker or, something along those lines, they may tell you, you need to take this medication, they label you.
And something is missing.
You're not really connecting.
But in a safe environment like the Gathering Place, they can.
We'll make some waffles, and next thing I know, they're talking about their parents, and sometimes it's like crying in the kitchen.
Having lived experience himself, Richard can use that to support others.
I really wish I could go back to college. I'm like, there's a goal right there, and I fully support you going back to college. Now, what do we need to get there?
Now, as a part of Governor DeWine's proposed budget, peer recovery organizations could be getting more support financially and certification practices improved for PRSs.
So that every community can have great places like the Gathering Place.
Because from a community perspective,
if you didn't have the Gathering Place, if you didn't have PRSs, I think you'd be doing a disservice to the community.
if you are struggling with mental health, call or text 988 or contact your local provider. Ohio University students can connect with counseling and psychological services on the phone or online. We had stories on mental health all week. To catch up on what you missed, you can listen to The Outlet on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Music for in-depth interviews with the reporters. And for even more information, you can read written content at woub.org.
Coming up in sports, Ohio football is prepping for a season with high expectations. Find out the team's mentality going into the new campaign when Newswatch returns. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your local television station.
On Secrets of the Dead. Until now, the experiences of early women received little attention.
The female was simply forgotten.
The true story of prehistoric woman is being brought to light.
We operate under the assumption that it's the prime age males that are the be-all and end-all of Ice Age lifeways, and they're not.
Lady Sapiens on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
For those born in the Rocky Mountains, the adventure has just begun. It's time to grow up, test your limits, discover what you were born to do. But a daunting challenge lies ahead. Your first winter. The skills you'll need have been passed down from generation to generation. This is how you thrive when you're born in the Rockies.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
这是我的村庄。几百年前，这里的女人创造了一种男人看不懂的文字，叫做女书。
有时候会纠结以后要怎么做，因为我们现在是一个父权语境嘛。
它有高度，问题是怎么去利用这种高度？
你不改不成为不可能的，你永远做奴隶。忧语哈，谢帝死，男儿有志在千里，娇娘岂可让须眉。
Hidden Letters, Monday, March 27th at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a charitable gift annuity is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
Welcome back, I'm Grant Kiefer. The college baseball season is ramping up and the Ohio Bobcats are getting into the full swing of things. The Bobcats are currently in the middle of the series opener at NIU with the Bobcats leading 11-2 in the 9th inning. Ohio scored 5 runs in just the first inning and followed that up in the second inning with 3 more runs, going up 8-0 early on. In the first 2 innings, all 9 position players for the Bobcats got on base. Northern Illinois has fought back a little bit to cut the deficit. They've been getting on base so far as 6 different players for them have gotten on base. If you like home runs and high-scoring games, the Ohio baseball team will be must-watch TV for you. The Bobcats have impressed early on as they've started MAC play with a 3-3 record. However, the Bobcats are coming off a 19-14 loss on Tuesday afternoon at Morehead State. Ohio does have a chance to bounce back on the road this weekend during this Northern Illinois series, though. This series in the Cobb would be pivotal in figuring out if the Bobcats will sit at the bottom of the standings for most of the season or if they'll compete for a MAC championship. The Ohio softball team is also in action this afternoon as they just wrapped up the first of a 3-game series at Bowling Green, winning this one by a final score of 8-1. The Bobcats started off this game hot. Ohio scored 4 runs in the top of the second inning and took control early on. Bowling Green tried to chip away at the lead after making the score 4-1 in the 4th, but the Bobcats put it out of reach for the Falcons after a 3-run home run from C.C. Kydell in the 5th inning. Ohio now stands at 11-14 overall and have a 2-2 record in MAC play. Watch out for this team. From the diamond to the gridiron, Ohio football is back in action for spring camp. There's a lot of excitement surrounding the Arizona Bowl champion Ohio Bobcats, who returned a number of key contributors from their 10-4 season a year ago. Redshirt senior quarterback Curtis Rourke headlines a potential high-flying offense in 2023. Rourke threw for over 3,200 passing yards and 25 touchdowns in just 11 games last year. Head coach Tim Albin says the team is excited about the expectations going into this season.
Last year was, you're going up the hill, and those it's a lot easier, And I'm not saying that we're at the top, but we all know that our game will be circled, and we've earned that. And so I think as a football team, we're gonna accept the challenge and put our best foot forward, and just like last year, continue to take games one at a time.
I'm Grant Kiefer, and that's it for sports. Back to you.
Thanks, Grant. And finally tonight, this year's Pickle Fest is kind of a big deal. It's the 25th anniversary of the competition hosted by Bagel Street Deli in Uptown Athens. Contestants pay $10 to chow down on as many gherkins as they can in 10 minutes. Not only does the winner get to relish in the moment, they get to choose which charity the pickle proceeds will go to. The winner also gets to create their own sandwich for the Bagel Street menu. This year's winner was Dylan, who ate 11 pickles. How about that one?
Wow, Morgan. 11 pickles? I cannot imagine eating that many in such a short amount of time.
I would like to think I'm passionate about pickles, but 11 is kind of a lot, but they keep buckets under the table.
Oh, hopefully nobody had to use those. Well, now let's toss it over to Isabel for a look at our final weather.
Yes, we're going into tonight. A lot of those shower chances are going to be happening. They're getting pushed back later and later. So if you're going out there tonight, definitely watch out for those showers, but you'll only need that light jacket with that overnight low of about 44. Going into tomorrow, that 50% chance of showers will be happening mostly in the early morning to afternoon. With that temperature high about 67 and that low of 34, it's definitely going to be very spring-like out there. Going into the rain for tomorrow, definitely looking a little marginal, not too much out there. So you're going to be nice out there for if you're enjoying your Saturday. That flood warning is only going to be about until 8:15, and that wind advisory is going to be mostly into tomorrow. So definitely, if you're going out there, it's going to be a little windy. So for your spring, you're going to be definitely windy, but a lot on the nicer side.
Yes, there's a lot of rain in the area. I'm so upset about that, but hopefully they'll bring for some warmer weather.
I know. It'll be definitely a lot nicer than what we've been expecting, but it'll be a lot nicer for our weekend.
Great. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Juliana Colant.
And I'm Morgan Anderson. And for all of us here at Newswatch, thank you. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at
Support comes from Help Me Grow, providing home visiting, helping pregnant mothers and parents tackle the big and little challenges of being a parent. Home visiting professionals listen, answer questions, provide resources, and help parents and their babies stay happy and healthy. More at helpmegrow.org. Support comes from Vinton County National Bank, whether it's making room for babies